The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star.
Welcome into another Tuesday edition of Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, the official dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Haley Sutton alongside my girls, Aisha Morrison and Jess Navarez. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in so long. We had the bye week. I missed you guys. I missed talking football. We had a couple of guys fill in last week when we did the switcheroo. I know you guys were on different shows as well, but there's nothing like bringing the girls back for Girls Talk, Boys Talk.
The girls are back in town.
Yeah, I got separation anxiety. I was hurting. I was like, what is this?
I felt so clingy. I was texting Aisha because I knew you were out of town, so I was texting Aisha, and I was like, girl, I miss you. Like, it's only Friday. And
I was trying so hard not to bother Haley.
I know, like, me too.
What you doing?
I know, but I was like checking her social media. I was like, what are they up to? What is she eating? Like, that pizza looked phenomenal.
I loved you girlies, but my phone was on Do Not Disturb.
As it should be.
The moment I walked out of this building until the moment I walked back in.
As it
today.
should be.
So
as it should be.
Thank you. We love a good beep. Really quick, how'd we spend our bye week, Jess?
Packing for the move that happened this morning. So yay.
Good.
I love that for me.
We love a new space.
Yeah. Now to unpack and,
Make it home.
Get used to all the things. Yeah.
Good.
But it's all good stuff. All fresh starts, new vibes, new decor. Guys, I'm about to live my best life after today.
We love it.
I'm just tired today.
Aisha, my girl, how'd you spend the bye week?
So ain't nobody tell me that when the football season started, I wasn't gonna have no life. And
welcome.
I'm telling you, just being in this building this last couple months, I've gained so much respect for the people that do this at a high level, or the writers, everyone involved, because it's a commitment, yo. It's a commitment. And the bye week I spent regrouping, quite honestly. I mean, because as you know, me and Jess, like, we started this, this immediately. Was a very, sporadic thing. We weren't prepared for it. So I've just been trying to get my life together. I cleaned my house, did laundry, me and my kids danced in the house. And by kids, I mean my dogs. It was a good time.
Called me at 10 o'clock at night on Friday. Or Saturday. No,
everybody needed
Friday.
to regroup and get our stuff together.
It's healthy. Whatever you have to do to, get your mind clear, take some time for you, whether it looks like staying home with your animals, your fur babies, taking a trip, eating some good food. No matter what you have to do, you always have to take care of yourself. And I think the bye week was a good week for everybody, including the players, to do just that.
Definitely. Like I said, I did the same. I went out of town with my sweet boyfriend who treated me to a wonderful trip to Chicago where literally all we did was eat food. So
it looked amazing.
Oh, it was so good. And I want to say to anybody that is a deep dish pizza hater, like, you're silly.
Because you were
deep
prepping.
Dish pizza is so good. And I tried to go into it with like a, no preconceived notions, just go in and have the pizza. And like, I don't care if you think it's lasagna. I don't think if you call it bread with sauce, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's delicious.
Do people really hate pizza? Any kind of pizza?
Go look at my tweet that I tweeted about it. And
I need to
so
see
many
this.
people in the comments were like, why would you eat that? One guy's like, that's trash.
But pizza is pizza.
Yeah,
you
it's
cannot.
So good.
Oh man,
I know.
It is heavy. Like, I will say, it is heavy. I literally ate 2 and was like full for the rest of the day. So
There you go.
like, it is heavy. But it's delicious. So 10 out of 10 would recommend Chicago. 10 out of 10 would recommend deep dish pizza.
There you go.
Like it.
Uh-oh.
I know y'all been trying to
Girl,
come
we
at
were
me for
doing
my
so
pumpkin
good.
spice. For my pumpkin
Girl,
spice. I don't like
You
deep
had
dish.
no friendship red flags.
There it is.
You might have one now.
Dang. over something we don't even have access to on a regular basis. You just gonna X me out?
I could make some.
Not X, but you're on notice.
Okay, yellow flag.
Oh, yellow one?
That's Jess's nod at penalties.
Oh.
All right, back to the football talk.
Take a shot.
So good. We're all feeling refreshed. We're all feeling ready as the Cowboys get set for their next game against the Packers. It'll be Mike McCarthy's first time to face his former team. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. We also have a special guest joining us as it is Tuesday, so we'll chat with our special guest in the second block. But the biggest news, I think, that is circulating around Cowboys Nation right now is somebody who has made an impact on this franchise for that iconic one-handed catch in the end zone.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Odell Beckham Jr. And his potential to be signed to the Dallas Cowboys. There's been rumors about it for the last couple of weeks. Mike McCarthy flirting with the idea. Jerry flirting a little bit harder with the idea. So let's just listen real quick on what he had to say on The Fan this morning.
As I see us going forward, that could basically dictate just how aggressive we are in any type of additions that we have here with our receivers. On the other hand, Odell is someone that we have all the appreciation in the world for what he is as a competitor, and I know that the Cowboy star on that helmet, when he puts it on, could look pretty good.
So the Cowboys star on his helmet could look pretty good. Now, I want to give some context really quick because I didn't tee this up very good. Before he started talking about Odell, he was asked how impressed he was or how happy he was with the current wide receiver core, and he was very complimentary. He mentioned how CeeDee Lamb has really stepped up in that wide receiver role. Michael Gallup improves every single week. So, I mean, he's been really pleased with the group that he has of late. He talked about the tight ends also being successful, but you can never have too much good. So Odell Beckham, he's been rehabbing since tearing that ACL back in February during the Super Bowl. He's reportedly close to being clear. Mike McCarthy saying that he was a huge fan of his yesterday in his press conference. So my question to you ladies, how much of an impact, if at all, does Odell Beckham make on this wide receiver group?
Oh, I think that he makes maybe not an immediate impact, but that's the threat of him on the field, I think, is going to mean something to this offense moving forward. Also, too, you're looking for someone to work that intermediate stuff, slot work, stuff like that. And I would hope that he would still have some of that speed and that ability off the line of scrimmage. I also think that this is, I don't know if we're going to get into if we think that he fits here, but I think that when you look at all of the logistics, cap space, all that stuff, it makes sense. It seems like it is definitely doable if it's there, and it would benefit this team moving forward with a young receiver core. Also, I'm curious to see what happens with Noah Brown. What's going on with him? I know he was dealing with that foot injury missed last game. I wonder if the depth there concerning whether if he's going to play or not is going to play any role in the decision. So I'm a little nervous. Like, y'all know, I already told you I'm very open. I get the BGs when this type of stuff is going on. Like, what's going on here?
Not the BGs. I don't know.
At least I'm honest about it. It happens to the best of us.
It does. It's okay. But, I want to go off of what you said, too, because I think a lot of the conversation that has surrounded CeeDee Lamb in the wide receiver one role is that he's not respected across the league. Sure. And I think when you have somebody like OBJ, who you don't even have to say his name, you say OBJ, and people know who you're talking about. He's well respected. He is a player that opposing defenses will prepare for specifically. That might even open up some of that, or take less of the coverage off of CeeDee to give him more of that opportunity to prove himself, as wide receiver one. So I think if it's affordable, if it is doable, and both parties can reach a mutual agreement, whether that be a long-term or short-term solution.
Long-term, short-term.
It's been a long day. If both of those parties can do that, why not? Really, I think Odell as a player is somebody who is well respected for many reasons. Again, you talked about the infamous catch. Oh, man, how I would love nothing more than to see Odell have one of those catches with the star on his helmet. Like Jerry said, he would look good already, but he would look even better making one of those catches in a Cowboys uniform this time.
And Mike McCarthy, I don't know if he mentioned it, but I know Joe Witt Jr. was with Odell and when he was with the Browns. And if you know Joe Witt Jr., he is hard-nosed, he's tough, he is not so much, I guess, what people would consider opposite of Mike McCarthy with the players coach type thing. He has a very specific way to his approach. So if he speaks highly or says that he feels like, you know, Odell maybe is a good addition, then I think that would be a credible source to go to also, too, that there's people in this locker room who've experienced him in his latter years is important.
I also think, too, you know, the conversation surrounding Odell can turn very negative very quickly, and that's based off of actions that he has had in his past. What I don't like about that conversation is it puts players in a box to only be one person. And as humans, we're allowed to grow, we're allowed to mature as time goes on. That goes for football players. It doesn't just go for people. It doesn't just go for your friend next to you. It doesn't just go for a family member. It goes for those players too. Just because they're football players doesn't mean they're stagnant to be in this little box of, you know, being problematic or however people are wanting to describe him, because I think Odell has matured. I think, you know, all of the things, the infamous events that you can name off that people try to scrutinize him to this day, that was an immature, younger version of Odell. Because really in the last few years, what headlines has he brought up that are problematic and could be an issue for this locker room morale in this team? I think it's just, for me personally, I hate seeing the scrutiny behind Odell's name because, again, it's putting a player in a box that you're not giving them a chance to show otherwise. And I don't think he's had to show anything because I think clearly you haven't seen his name in headlines telling you he's matured already. So
yeah, he is a little bit of a drama queen, but sometimes it's okay to be a little dramatic. I'm speaking about myself. It's okay to be a little bit dramatic. I put a Twitter poll out earlier in the day that to Cowboys fans. I said, do the Cowboys get better with OBJ on the roster? And a whopping 82.9% said, of course. 17.1% said meh. That's 130 votes throughout the day. So thank you guys for participating in that. And Aisha, you mentioned as far as like where he fits in, and I want you to dive deeper in that. Do you think he fits in with this group? Because to me, he's almost, in my opinion, a hybrid of what Michael Gallup and CD both bring to the table. So where does he fit, if he fits at all?
I just think that he's right now you're looking for a QB-friendly receiver. Is that when your quarterback is in a bunch, he's rolling to his left, rolling to his right, things aren't going right, a guy's just going to be able to make a play when he needs it and also just understands the moment. I know that we talk about like Odell's explosiveness, which is I also think is going to help out this offense because you're seeing 8-9-man boxes, depending on, you know, a lot of people are committing to stopping the run. Hey, if you got an Odell out there, maybe maybe you don't do that. Maybe you say, you know, maybe we do need a DB in coverage. And then as you talked about, Jess, CD is getting bracketed in different parts of the game. That's going to take pressure off of him and allow him to play loose. I just think that the middle of the field work could really open up this offense more, and just knowing that there's a guy on the other side of the field that can break things open. You know, again, we talk about the respect factor. Yeah. And Odell is a guy, we talk about it every week, you talk about it, where it's like people are naming specific names like Micah, this guy. Odell's one of those guys that no matter what, like coming off ACL, whatever the case may be, you want to account for him in your offense, and just adding another thing for somebody to account for in this offense, I think is important. So it can open up more as they progress.
I also think something that people can't say about Odell is that he's not passionate about what he does. Sure. You absolutely see that passion flowing out of him every single time he's on the field, every single time he's playing. I mean, I can't recall a game that I've watched Odell play that I'm like, oh, that guy doesn't want to be there, you know, and I think that kind of mentality could really mesh in well with the mentality in this building, because you look at the guys that they talk the talk, they walk the walk. I mean, we see the guys in the locker room every week. We hear from them. They all have this kind of mentality of they want to be here. They want to compete. They want to compete together. I really think Odell wouldn't be disruptive to that whatsoever.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, too, as well, as he rehabs from injury, a couple injuries that we are paying attention to. Jerry Jones telling us this morning that Zeke should be good to go on Sunday. He'll be working through practice, but he should be back. I think one of you mentioned James Washington. If not, maybe it was on the brain. Dane.
Yeah, so James Washington, I believe it was Mike McCarthy on Monday in his press conference that said they are looking at him this week.
So
end quote.
Activating that 21-day practice window. Yep. So possibly they want to see what he can do before they go any further with Odell. Yes, we never know.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
And then Sam Williams and Malik Hooker both should be good to go. They both picked up some injuries during the Lions game, so a good 2 weeks gave them some rest, and so they should all be good to go as well. So last thing I want to say about Odell before we take our first break, and Jess, you kind of mentioned this too, or both of you did really, just the respect factor. And I find it interesting, something that I've learned about Jerry Jones is that he is mysterious, but also obvious at the same time. Like, he's very good at painting his words in a way to where, like, you kind of know what he's saying.
Right.
But you kind of are like, wait a minute. And I think he really did that this morning with Odell. He talked about, coming off of injury. Is that a concern when you have two wide receivers now who are coming off of ACL injuries with both him and Michael Gallup? Should you add Odell to the mix? And he said, look at his resume, look at his track record. He's done this before with the Rams. So just an interesting little nugget there. He talked about dealing with past adversity. So who knows? We could see Odell in Cowboys blue.
Yeah, and I also want to point out too that during that same interview on The Fan, Jerry said we may or may not get something done as far as an additive on the receiver corps, but if we don't, I like where we are. So again, going back to your point, just reminded me of how he in one sentence said, "Hey, he could look good in a helmet with a star on it," and then the next, was basically like, but if we don't get it, we don't get it. I'm like, no, give us more.
I also think that Jerry has a lot of faith in what this training staff can do as well.
Yeah.
By getting him in the building, getting him looked at. And if the Cowboys training staff, who has won awards and accolades, if they okay him, I think that there's confidence in his ability. But also, he's played on, a couple of different teams. He's had to be integrated. He got integrated into a Rams offense that, to me, is one of the more complex less now, but before, more complex in the NFL, and was able to pick up on that mid-season and actually be a contributor. So, some people are worried about him coming in and not knowing the playbook. Yeah, I understand that part of things, but this is a seasoned vet. Right. Yep. This is a seasoned vet. Just like we looked at, Hankins, like he can just come in and you can place him there and he'll get it as he goes, right? So.
Yep. Jerry mentioned that as well, bringing in a guy who could be integrated very quickly. So we are currently on Odell Beckham watch. But while we do that, we're going to take our first break here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. When we come back, though, we have a very special guest joining us in our Tuesday hot seat. This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Pepsi-loving football fans, it's time we had a lesson in trash talk. And I'm not talking about that stuff that happens on the field. What I'm talking about is trash, and it's the only thing that belongs in your garbage can. Now, recycling might not be as thrilling as converting a 4th and long, but next time you're thinking about throwing that Pepsi Zero Sugar bottle away, just cap it back up and pretend you're down by 6 with the recycling bin wide open. Know the difference? Make a difference. Be a team player and recycle. Visit PepsiTrashTalk.com to learn more.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Welcome back to Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, the official dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We've got our special guest coming in just a few minutes. She's running a few minutes behind, but we'll go to Jess first.
Yeah, let's talk about some single game tickets because it's not too late to get some. Limited tickets for the remaining home games of the 2022 Dallas Cowboys season at AT&T Stadium are available now. Visit dallascowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium, for more information. Please take advantage of that because I think there's nothing more special than a home game that has that home field advantage, right? Where the crowd is going wild and everything is, you just know when fans show up to these games. You can just feel it.
Yeah. I agree. I think that it obviously makes for a better atmosphere as well for the players. My favorite part, not to go backwards, but my favorite part of last week's game against Chicago when Zeke was on the sidelines was that the video camera or the video board camera kept going to Zeke, who was like standing up on the bench and he's like throwing around his rally down. And I just couldn't help but every time they went to him, I'm like, sir, please get down. Like, you have a bum knee. You're not in the game for a reason. So we will hopefully see him back on Sunday in what will be Mike McCarthy's return to Green Bay. He spoke yesterday. It was very clearly an emotional topic for him. He didn't want it to be. But he mentioned several times in there that he was going to be vulnerable. He mentioned that he wasn't going to be that vulnerable. But I think that's special whenever you get a head coach who isn't afraid to show their feelings, show that emotional side to it. And, you know, with good reason, too. He spent 13 seasons there in Green Bay, a lot of history there. His wife's family's from there. His kids grew up there. He's got a street named after him. And I know he didn't go too deep into it, but I mean, just how special do we think this is going to be for Mike to go back to Green Bay?
Oh, 100%. I think he can paint it out as you know, it means a little more, but it's not that big of a deal. But here's the thing. It's a big deal for the players who are playing for Mike because you even heard J-Ron Kearse talk about it yesterday. Like, we want to win for our coach. And you know, Mike McCarthy can play it off, but that doesn't mean that the guys don't have his back and that they don't want to win extra for Mike. And, you know, just maybe give him the game ball to be like, there you go. And then give him the game ball and say, so was it a catch? Did Dez catch it? See if that changes his mind a little bit. But I think it's special. I think these kind of games, the headlines write themselves. The stories really write themselves for this. When you've spent that much of your life with such significant life events happening within that period of time, you know, having his family there, having his wife, you know, who was raised there and all of those kind of very monumental moments in their life happen, of course it's naturally going to be a more emotional time for Mike McCarthy and, you know, kind of reminiscent, kind of bittersweet for him. But I really don't think in any way, shape, or form is it going to be a negative distraction. I think Mike McCarthy is the kind of person that's going to push him to push a little bit harder, you know, to make sure that win's solidified.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. It's not just him, right? It's not just him. You got Al Harris, you got Joe Witt Jr.
Yep.
I think he said there's a total of 10 gentlemen that are on this coaching staff that are returning to Lambeau. So it means something to them too, I'm sure. But I also think it means something, like I said, it means something for this team as well to get over this Green Bay hump, right? It's like this, for some reason, this team is always, you know, giving a lot of the fan base and stuff pause. And I think it's important for them to go up there and make a statement and show, you know, this is kind of how the NFC is going now. It's a little different out here, right? You know, and I think it's important for them to establish themselves that way.
We are going to get back to Green Bay, but I think Jazz is going to bring in our special guest. Here she is, everyone. Drum roll, please.
We are so excited.
We are so excited, as Jess just said, our Tuesday hot seat here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. By the way, I just named that right now, so
Can we mark that? That was beautiful.
Tuesday hot seat. This week we are so excited to have Audrey Westcott, our social media coordinator upstairs. And Audrey, I see you doing so much work. I work with you on a couple of different pieces too. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to hop on with us. This is your second season. So I want to open up the floor to you just to get started, just your journey so far and kind of some of the things that you do on a day-to-day basis.
We got that much time?
Yeah.
Well, I am born and raised in El Paso, so shout out to the 915.
Okay.
Have to get that in there. But my journey has been a long one. Started out in collegiate athletics, a lot of stops at UTEP, Georgetown, Chattanooga, Purdue. And then right when COVID hit, just, I saw a posting with the Cowboys, and I was like, you know what? Closed mouths don't get fed. So if you don't try out, so I tried it out, and luckily, everything went smoothly. And, before I knew it, I was here. So it's been a great journey for sure.
Tell us a little bit about, like I said, I know you have a long list of things, but just the things that you do throughout the day that help keep our fantastic Dallas Cowboys social media pages up and running.
You're very nice. Honestly, it's different every day. Like right now, I literally just came back. I met Anthony Brown and his wife. They did a voting video. They were out voting and just encouraging everyone to get out there. So honestly, it's different day to day. We get in, we kind of check. We've got a monthly calendar where we know, what's coming down month to month, what's coming down week to week, and then day to day. And then from there, we break it down. We've got a staff of 4 as of right now, so we break it down. We've got Ian King as our copywriter, so he kind of leads the posting. Then we have Brandy King and Marissa Ricketts, and they kind of help me cover different events, pulling content. We're kind of just helping collect everything and shifting it to Ian, and it's a well-oiled machine as of right now.
And so you had talked about how you had a lot of collegiate sports, in your background. Did you ever think that you would end up working for the Dallas Cowboys?
Funny enough, I did.
There you go.
Knock on wood, manifest it. My very first Cowboys game as a fan was, I believe it was 2016. It was a Christmas game against the Eagles, and I was just talking to my mom about this yesterday. We play the Eagles Christmas Eve this year, so she's like, you really have come full circle. You know, I've got pictures that Facebook reminds me, and it's like, watching the boys, and to be here, it's so real sometimes.
Actually had the exact same thing. Like my Facebook memories it'd be sending me like, I was literally just ranting about football in like 2012, and it's like, oh, okay.
And look at you now, leading it.
But I wanted to ask you, okay, so I know during playoffs time, it gets a little crazy. Obviously, last year you had playoffs. How crazy does the media stuff get for playoffs time?
Oh, girl, I am scarred from playoffs.
Yeah, you might as well start preparing right now.
Fun fact, our whole social team got COVID last playoffs.
Wow.
So we're literally prepping before we could not be together. So a lot of Zoom calls, calling each other. What's this? What's this? We were all in different meetings. It's kind of like the season packed into 1 week because you're playing game by game, right? So it's like you have brand new set of sponsor requirements, updating player content. It literally, I probably didn't sleep that week very much.
And that's why I asked. I wanted to know.
It gets crazy. So we're ready for it, though. I welcome it. Hope we have a few more weekends.
I love that for you. You're prepared this time.
I am.
And you know what I really, really love is, so when we first met, it was because I went upstairs, we're in the social media area, and I was wearing a Mija Yes You Can shirt, which is a nonprofit from El Paso, and a little voice turns around and is like, are you from El Paso? And so, coming from a smaller area, El Paso, obviously a larger city than Las Cruces, but sister cities essentially, right there, right next to each other. But, what is your advice to maybe those small town girls or boys even that think that this dream may be too big for them to work for the Dallas Cowboys or to do social media for a pro sports team?
It's a great question, Jess.
It is. And honestly, I think you answered it. It's dream big. It's like, don't ever think you are too small or any dream is too big for you to achieve. Like, with social media now, resources are literally in the palm of our hands. Like, connect, reach out to people. Like, even if you feel like, man, I've reached out to 500 people and it's just not going, it just takes one. It honestly just takes one. So dream big, plan big, just do it all big. That's my biggest advice.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much.
Audrey, how important has social media become, not just to, us as persons, but really to organizations as a whole?
Oh, it's skyrocketed to the top. Sponsors are calling us and they're like, we want social, broadcast, radio, it's all still very important and it's, engraved, but social media is kind of making its own wave now and people are wanting that. Athletes are recognizing like, hey, I have a platform and this is worth something, whether it's, monetary or if it's just, to give yourself a voice, elevate certain platforms. Like people are just realizing this little device connects us, all around the world. So it has a huge impact right now. It's never going to end. So as long as we keep it positive, it'll be worth it.
Endless content ideas. Endless content ideas.
Yes.
What is your favorite part of this job? I mean, you're constantly, like you said, you have a month-to-month calendar of things constantly going on. You're at events. You're shooting things with players. I saw it when Post Malone was here. You were out there with him shooting all of the content. What is your favorite part, or what has been your favorite memory so far?
Honestly, I've had a lot of great memories. Like Post Malone, I'm a big Post Malone fan. So I think I went up to him and I was like, I'm a big fan. And I'm like, oh, don't say those things. You're working. But honestly, it's coming into work and seeing people. You could tell they're on vacation or in for a weekend, and they're just so amazed by stuff at the Star, stuff at the stadium. And you're just like, that's who we do it for. Like, yes, I love working with the athletes. I love helping share their message. But, Cowboys Nation is the reason why we're here. And we do it all for them. So just seeing them so happy and take it in, like, that really, it's cheesy, but it warms my heart. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not cheesy at all. It's so true. And it's important, I think, that everybody hears you say that, because social media is one of the harder jobs that I think gets so underappreciated, mostly because everybody has social media these days. So everybody thinks they can run a social media account and run it effectively, which is not the case, as you know. But so much respect for everything you do, and the team does, really. I mean, it's so much work that y'all are constantly doing. So awesome stuff, too. Oh, my goodness. Some of those videos, I'm like, dang, y'all are creative.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next. Is there a project that you've worked on, and not just this year, but in your 2 years being here, is there a project that you've worked on where you're like, I am so excited and I am so proud that we put this out?
That one's hard, but I actually got to know our community relations team reached out to me to let me know that the NFL was really praising a community project we did last year. So in the spring, Fort Worth ISD kicked off their women's football inaugural season. So most of the games were played at AT&T. The championship was held at AT&T. So we did like player profiles. We did like a Cowboys cam with the girls to start off with. And they said that the league reached out and, they're using us as the guide of like, hey, this is how you should do it.
That's awesome. Yep.
So just knowing, like, those girls were making history and we were able to help elevate their message, and the league is recognizing it. So they're actually going to showcase those videos on a show on Nickelodeon.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, those girls are going to get, some extra limelight, which is happy because, they were awesome to work with.
Oh, that's amazing. That is beautiful. And that is the embodiment of, I think, what we look for on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, is to empower women, especially in this industry that is so male-dominated, that you can do anything. You can do everything and anything. No dream is too big, like you said. So I love that.
I know.
These always make me want to cry.
Last question from me. What are the challenges that you battle every day?
The fans.
Or just
Eagles fans.
That's one of the things is winning makes things a lot easier. Fans are happy. They are more receptive when we're not, doing so hot, or if fans aren't agreeing with, where the organization is going. Our fan base is very, very verbal. And then on top of that, like you said, the Eagles fans, 49ers, the Washington Commanders, those fan base pay attention to what we do. So they're always setting up messages that can just be reoccurring, and you're just like,
oh my goodness.
But yeah, just to the fans, the social media team does, read messages and comments from time to time. So appreciate it.
So be kind. Be kind. Know that there are faces behind everything you see on social media, and don't leave pointless, mean comments.
Yeah. You know what's so funny, too, as we wrap this segment up? It's funny that you bring that up. I like to keep a tab on how our show is doing, like, on Twitter, so I always have the feed pulled up. And as you said that, I'm reading through the comments, and all these weirdos are like, no one watches this. Why would anybody watch this?
It's like you're watching it right now.
Yeah, people are watching. Yeah, right. Like, football's for men only. So shout out to you guys for boosting us, actually, when you comment. We get a little bit more. So thank you guys so much for giving your 2 cents that we didn't ask for.
It helps us.
It does.
No, it is important, I think, to recognize that, that's one of my big mantras in this industry, is that the reason why I got got into it is because football players and athletes in general are people first. I always try and remind people of that. Like, these guys go home to their families or their dog or whatever it is that they go home to, and they do the things that everybody else does. So it is important to recognize the hard work that you do, because like I said, I see you running around all day, every day. You're in and out of meetings and constantly coordinating with stuff. And so I know this is just your second season, but you are crushing it. So.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you guys.
Audrey Westcott, social media coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Audrey, thank you so much for joining us. Pay attention to her content on social, and we will wrap up the show when we come back on Girls Talk Boys Talk.
Thank you, guys.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Pepsi-loving football fans, it's time we had a lesson in trash talk. And I'm not talking about that stuff that happens on the field. What I'm talking about is trash, and it's the only thing that belongs in your garbage can. Now, recycling might not be as thrilling as converting a 4th and long, but next time you're thinking about throwing that Pepsi Zero Sugar bottle away, just cap it back up and pretend you're down by 6 with the recycling bin wide open. Know the difference? Make a difference. Be a team player and recycle. Visit PepsiTrashTalk.com to learn more.
With Smoothie King's original Angel Food and new Angel Food Slim without added sugar, you no longer have to choose between treating yourself and hitting your goals this summer. You don't have to choose between great taste and feeling great. Because at Smoothie King, every blend is made with whole fruits and no syrups, so you can satisfy your cravings without compromise. The only choice you will need to make is which one is best for you. Try our classic Angel Food or the new Angel Food Slim, blended without added sugar. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Welcome back to Girls Talk, Boys Talk. We are powering through this Election Tuesday, which, by the way, get out and vote, people, if you haven't already.
Yes.
We are wrapping up our show here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, the official dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And we are going to our official commercial reader, Jess Navarez.
Okay, let's talk NFL Plus, and it is here, which means no matter where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, whatever the case is, this is how you football. Get live, local, and primetime regular and postseason games. Important if you're a Cowboys fan to note that one. On your phone, tablet, game replays, and more. Go to plus.nfl.com and start your free trial of NFL Plus today.
All right. Thank you so much, Jess. Before we were joined by Audrey, we were talking about this upcoming matchup with Green Bay and the Cowboys, and obviously we'll break it down as we move through the week. But just on the outside looking in, this is not the Packers team of old. It's very clear they're struggling offensively. They are 3-6 on the season, a 5-game losing streak that was eclipsed by a loss to the statistically worst defensive team in the league last week to the Lions. They have struggled without Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers does not look like himself. He threw 3 picks last week, 2 of which were in the end zone. All of that to say that they are pretty good at beating the Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers, 7-2 as a starter versus the Cowboys. In 8 games, he's thrown for 1,940 yards, 11 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. And it gets worse. The Cowboys are just 2-11 at Lambeau Field. But this is a different Cowboys team this year. They are looking good. They're looking strong. Mike McCarthy's first time facing his former team. What's working in the Cowboys' favor in this one?
I mean, I think a lot of things are working in the Cowboys' favor. They're just a better team right now as it stands. You know, Green Bay's gotten hit with the injury bug real bad. Bakhtiari went down. I think they had Eric Stokes, cornerback, Romeo Doubs. I mean, they lost quite a few guys. And even though Aaron Jones possibly is coming back, it sounds like his x-rays were clear and whatever. Even though he's coming back, he's still hobbled. And the Cowboys' defensive line against that offensive line and what they're having going on with their secondary, I just think that the Cowboys are a better team right now. And I understand a lot of the anxiety that goes into going to Lambeau and the crowd noise and all that stuff. But I'm just not going to let that get in the way of what I see And this is not a very good team right now. A-Rod.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yo, it's just, I mean, because I get, like I said, like Cowboys fans to me have such like a panic when you're going against some of these teams because they've just, I mean, Green Bay has ruined your playoff hopes multiple years. So I get it. But then we have to really, you know, look at what this team is right now. I haven't even looked at a full game, and I feel like I don't know if I have to with the Packers because you kind of know what they are right now. So I just think the Cowboys know who they are. If you looked across the NFL this on the bye week, that's what I noticed this bye week is it looks like a lot of teams in the NFL right now are looking for their identity. I think it's important that the Cowboys know who they are right now.
And something that we talked a lot about on this podcast weeks ago was September football and how it looks very different come November, December, all the other months, right? But September football really being more preseason-like than regular season, even though it actually counts. What's interesting about that is September football is when you're supposed to be playing your worst, right?
Relative.
I say that lightly,
relative.
you know. The Packers, the wins that they have were against the Bears on week 2, 27-10, the Bucks on week 3, 14-12, and then week 4, the Patriots 27-24.
Which we need to mention that it was in overtime versus Bailey Zappi.
There you go.
You better knock it off because that was petty.
It's okay.
I'm just saying.
That is true, though. It's true.
Can we get that little noise, Jazzy? The ding. Thank you.
I thought she wasn't going to give it to you.
I know. I was like, that's really awkward. But my point being is September football is you go back to even the Cowboys' beginning of the season. Sky was falling. Cooper Rush was coming in. And everyone was saying, oh, well, this is actually pretty good for being in September and them not having their starting quarterback. At that point, Michael Gallup wasn't even in. And the Cowboys were still winning games. You're talking about a Packers team that has Aaron Rodgers, their starting quarterback in. Of course, they're plagued by injuries right now, but cannot win a game. It's been 5 weeks since the Packers have won a game.
Yeah.
5 weeks, people. That is like this many. I don't know if you can see. That's a lot. And especially for Aaron Rodgers, it's just we have entered this multiverse of madness in the NFL to where you look at these teams that are scary names for understandable reasons as Cowboys fans, and you mark it as a loss automatically when you're at the beginning of the season and you're looking at the schedule. You can't tell me. Maybe like 1 in 10 people mark that as a win on their
That's
you know,
true.
their predictions.
That's true.
Yeah.
No one looked at the schedule and was like, oh, yeah, Green Bay.
Everyone said, oh, that is good. I'm so glad we have the bye week before because it's in Lambeau. I mean, which, of course, you want the bye week to be before and get your healthy guy or your banged up guys more healthy. But the thing is, this team, it's kind of weird saying this, but the Packers are just not good.
No, it's okay. You can say it. They're not good.
They're not.
Said it.
You can
They're
say
not
it.
good.
They're 3-6. They're not good.
But
Aaron Rodgers is missing Devontae.
That's so weird to say. I really feel like we are in a weird multiverse of madness, but I love it. Let's stay here because any multiverse of madness that has the Packers with a losing record and the Cowboys with the winning one, I want to be there. I want to live there. I want to stay here forever.
No, it's what's going on with the Packers, man. Like, it's also too, we look at this time of the year, you say like what you are is probably what you are.
Yeah.
Because it's past the trade deadline, right? It's not a lot of room for them to improve what they are right now. And I understand they've lost 5 games in a row. You would say to yourself, ain't no way they're gonna lose 6. Amen, say amen. I think with a lot of the the emotion behind the Cowboys going up there again, coming off this bye, maybe trying to make a point, this could be a rough game.
Something too. Oh, sorry. Something too that came up on Twitter today from Mike Poland, a fellow BTBer of mine. Hello, Mike. You love to see it. He says that's like a trademark thing that I need to trademark because I apparently just love to see everything. But he tweeted that the Packers have scored 17.1 points per game this season, the 6th worst in the NFL. The Cowboys have allowed 16.6 PPG, points per game, this season, the 3rd best in the NFL. So there's your little dose of more optimism.
Is that
if you needed more.
past interference?
Yeah.
No past interference. That's just your dose of optimism as a Cowboys fan.
They got to the red zone 3 times last week,
Jesse.
2 drives within 10 yards, and he throwing picks at the goal line.
Picks, sis.
Aaron!
Picks.
Aaron, who are you?
Aaron, your team is in green.
Aaron, what is happening right now?
We don't have to call out wearing green. That was not on purpose.
I told you
I'm so sorry.
But now you're right, Jess. Though we are in that time, this weird time in the NFL, though, where it's like quarterback play and offensive line play are down, and then but you also see defenses kind of making a comeback right now because scoring is down more than it's been.
Bad.
It's down more than it's been a long time for a long time. But I think a lot of this has to do with, again, the quarterback play and what you're getting from there. You see, it's a transitional period right now for these young guys to take the next step, and then also to offensive line play is when I tell you the bye week had me grateful. just being straight up with you, like, look at the Cowboys offensive line and then go look at what we saw on Sunday, and I was hurting. I was like, dang. Oh, I remember what that was like last year. I know what that feels like. Grateful. That's what I was over the bye week. Grateful. I don't have those problems.
We are grateful for good offensive lines. We are grateful that we all have voted. Yep. So make sure.
We did.
Other side, babe.
Oh.
There you go.
I don't have my sticker. I'm sorry.
This has been so fun. I'm so glad to be back on this show with you guys. We will be back tomorrow to continue to break down this matchup as we count down to Mike McCarthy's return to his alma mater, if you will.
There you go.
But that will do it for us here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. For Aisha and Jess, I am Haley, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.